Elder knowledge. I met the master of the Greybeards, the Dragon Parthenax, or the Dragon Parthenax. He told me that the ancient Nords used an Elder Scroll to cast Alduin forward in time. If I can recover that same Elder Scroll, I may be able to use it to learn the Dragon Rind Shout directly from the ancient heroes. Learn the location of the Elder Scroll. Ignore that Lydia is dressed as a blade.
Speak. I will listen.
What do I do with the Elder Scroll when I find it?
Return it here to the Tid Achran. Then, Kele Vomindok. Nothing is certain with such things. But I believe the scroll's bond with the Tid Achran will allow you a seeing, a vision of the moment of its creation. Then you will feel, know Dragonrend in the power of its first expression. You will see them, Wuthfadon, my friends, Haken, Gormlaith, Feldir.
Haken, Gormlaith, and Feldir? Who are they?
The first mortals that I taught the Thum, the first tongues, the leaders of the rebellion against Alduin. They were mighty in their day, even to attempt to defeat Alduin. Sahrot Hun, the Nords have had many heroes since, but none greater.
Do you know where I can find an Elder Scroll?
Crosis, no. I know little of what has passed below in the long years I have lived here. You are likely better informed than I.
Well, Esbern or Arngnir might have some idea.
Trust your instincts, Dovahkiin. Your blood will show you the way.
How could an Elder Scroll cast Alduin through time?
Vomendok, I do not know. Perhaps in the very doing, they erased the knowing of it from time itself. The Dove are children of Akatosh. Thus, we are specially attuned to the flow of time. Perhaps also uniquely vulnerable. I warned them against such a rash action. Even I could not foresee its consequences. Nust Lihorn, they would not listen.
You mean you were there?
Yes. There were a few of us that rebelled against Alduin's Thur, his tyranny. We aided the humans in his overthrow. But they did not trust us, ni Ov. Their inner councils were kept hidden from us. I was far from here on the day of Alduin's downfall, but all Dove felt the sundering of time itself.
What does the Dragon Shout actually do?
I cannot tell you in detail. I never heard it used. Kogan. It was the first Thum created solely by mortals. It was said to force a dragon to experience the concept of mortality. A truly von Mindoran, incomprehensible idea to the immortal Dove.
Okay. You're the master of the Greybeards. Do others come up here to train?
I have taught the way of the voice for centuries, and the Thum since long before that. But no Dovahkiin. Others do not come here to train anymore. Saran, you are the first in over 100 years. I meditate on the Rotmulag, the words of power. I counsel in their use. It is enough for me.
You meditate on the words? How?
Knowing a word of power is to take its meaning into yourself. Contemplate the meaning of a Rotmulag. You will become closer to that word as it fills your inner self. Will I teach you, Dovahkiin? What word calls you to deeper understanding? There are 3 to master: Fus, Faim, and Yol.
Oh. Is this me making a choice? He's not going to explain them? I think Yol is the fire one, Fus is the wind, because that's the whole Fus Rodah. It's push or something like that. So what is Faim? There's no point getting the fire one, because you get a better fire one that disintegrates. Or is that the Fus Rodah that disintegrates? I never choose it, so what's Faim?
Fade in your tongue. Mortals have greater affinity for this word than the dove. Everything mortal fades away in time, but the spirit remains. Ponder the meaning of spirit, Unslad Zi. Where mortal flesh may wither and die, the spirit endures. That is fine. Let that meaning fill you. Sum Ark Mora. You will find that your spirit will give you more strength.
Eternal spirit has been added. I wish to meditate on a word of power.
Which calls to you, Dovahkiin? Fus, Faim, or Yol?
You're not going to fly away, right? Okay, hold on. Let's see what this one gives us. It's going to take it away. No? Didn't I just get a new active power? Oh, he gave me become ethereal. Did he? He did say fade.
Cthulhu. Which calls to you, Dovahkiin?
Fus.
It is called force in your tongue. But as you push the world, so does the world push back. Think of the way force may be applied effortlessly. Imagine but a whisper pushing aside all in its path. That is Fus. Let its meaning fill you. Sum Ark Mora. You will push the world harder than it pushes back.
Force without effort has been added. Okay. So this one is an actual thing that he gives me. Doesn't seem to be a time limit on it, so is it permanent unless I get a new one? So he probably didn't give me the ability because I didn't know the shout until now. I do have fire breath.
Lokthum. Which calls to you, Dovahkiin? Fus?
Yol.
In your tongue, the word simply means fire. It is change given form, power at its most primal. That is the true meaning of Yol. Solyek, power. You have it, as do all Dove. But power is inert without action and choice. Think of this as the fire builds in your sum, in your breath. Sum Ark Mora. What will you burn? What will you spare?
The fire within.
Sum arc mora.
Yes, so I can only have one active at a time. Fire breath shouts deal 25% more damage. Well, that one's not full, so how's about you give me
Which
back?
calls to you?
Oops.
It is called. Think of that is
Thank
food.
you.
Let its meaning fill you.
And
Sum arc mora. You will push the world harder than it pushes back.
I'm going to go ahead and head up here real quick before we head down the mountain. I mean, I don't need this item, but I'm already here. Might as well grab it. Because someone will probably say, hey, you forgot to get the pickaxe. Come on. There we are. It's the notched pickaxe. Okay. No. Map is this way. Let's just fast travel down to High Hrothgar. Because I don't want to walk. Oh, that was one of them. Okay, I was like, what's that noise? Argnir.
So, you spoke to Parthenax. The dragon blood burns bright within you. Did he tell you what you wanted to know? Did he teach you the dragon wren to shout?
No, but he told me how to find out.
So be it. If he believes it is necessary for you to learn this, we will bow to his wisdom.
I need the Elder Scroll the ancients used. Do you know where to find it?
We have never concerned ourselves with the scrolls. The gods themselves would rightly fear to tamper with such things. As for where to find it, such blasphemies have always been the stock and trade of the mages of Winterhold. They may be able to tell you something about the Elder Scroll you seek. Wind guide you.
So that seems to be all he can tell me. Well, Parthenax told me that the ancient Nords used an Elder Scroll to cast Alduin forward in time. We already read that. If I can recover the same Elder Scroll, I may be able to use it to learn the Dragon Wren shout. Directly from the ancient heroes, Argnir suggested that someone at the College of Winterhold might know how to find this Elder Scroll. I can also talk to Esbern, who will probably tell me the same thing. But I guess let's go get that other set of dialogue. Since I will have to cut this here so that I can do the entire Mage Guild's quest line. I don't remember. I have to do the whole thing. Probably standing outside. Though I thought they didn't stand outside until they had people to train. have sent them no people.
I used to dream of it. In the dream I was standing someplace high up, a tower or a mountain. It was always just before dawn. The whole world was in darkness. Then came the flash of light, just on the horizon, within the clouds that marked the border. It could have been lightning, but there was no thunder. In the dream, the sense of foreboding grew. But I could never wake up. Then it came again, this time more distinct, closer. Definitely not lightning. Now it was orange, brilliant orange. The color of hearth and dawn. And a sound, too, distinct and indistinct. Not thunder, something else. Something I should recognize, but in the dream I cannot place it. I want to leave my high place to seek shelter from what I don't yet know. In the manner of dreams I cannot escape. I'm forced to wait and watch. Then, finally, realization and horror arrive together. The orange is flame, heat. The sound, the roar, challenge in their ancient tongue. But now it's too late for escape. The dragon is upon me, fire and darkness descending like a thunderbolt. And not just any dragon, but the dragon, Aldrin, the world eater, the dragon who devours both the living and the dead. And then I would wake up and hope that it was just a dream, but know that it was not.
Were the Greybeards any help? Did they know anything about the shout used against Alduin?
Ah, you're back. I hope you've made some progress on tracking down this shout we need to defeat Alduin.
I'll need an Elder Scroll to get any further. I'm working on locating it.
Ah, indeed. There's a pretty puzzle. Not the kind of thing you will find in your local bookshop. I'm sure you will manage, though.
Any ideas where I can find the Elder Scroll?
Do you know the College of Winterhold? They have a deep interest in such arcana. Goodbye, then.
Can I get to her before she gets to the door?
What is it?
I could, but it didn't matter. She had no new information anyways. Okay, College Winterhold quest line it is. Alright, back to Elder Knowledge. We're in the college. We need to find someone here who can point us in the right direction. So we're going to enter the library. Or the Arcanum is what it's called. Why does my voice sound weird? Where's my water? Okay. No, it still sounds weird to me. I'm probably catching something and getting sick.
I don't want to see you treating any of these books poorly. Are we clear? Hundreds of years have gone into assembling this collection. It's going to stay pristine, understand?
This is Urag gro-shub?
You are now in the Arcanium, of which I am in charge. It might as well be my own little plane of oblivion. Disrupt my Arcanium, and I will have you torn apart by angry Atronachs. Now, do you require assistance?
I do. I'm looking for an Elder Scroll.
And what do you plan to do with it? Do you even know what you're asking about? Or are you just someone's errand boy?
Tell me more about the Elder Scrolls.
I knew it. Everyone comes in here expecting my help, but they don't even have the proper questions. An Elder Scroll is an instrument of immense knowledge and power. To read an Elder Scroll, a person must have the most rigorously trained mind, or else risk madness. Even so, the divines usually take the reader's sight as a price.
A price for what?
The simplest way to put it is knowledge, but there's nothing simple about an Elder Scroll. It's a reflection of all possible futures and all possible pasts. Each reader sees different reflections through different lenses, and may come away with a different reading. But at the same time, all of it is true, even the falsehoods, especially the falsehoods.
Who wrote the Elder Scrolls?
It would take a month to explain to you how that very question doesn't even make sense. The scrolls exist here, with us, but also beyond and beneath, before and after. They are bits of divine-made substance, so we could know them. Sorry, talking about the scrolls, you usually end up in irritating and vague metaphors like that. Some people who study them devoutly go mad.
Alright, so you have one that I could use?
Ah, you think that even if I did have one here, I would let you see it? It would be kept under the highest security. The greatest thief in the world wouldn't be able to lay a finger on it.
What about the Dragonborn?
What about? Wait, are you? Were you the one the Greybeards were calling? I'll bring everything we have on them, but it's not much. So don't get your hopes up. It's mostly lies, leavened with rumor and conjecture.
Okay. Oh, it's like, who's following me? Lydia. Lydia is following me.
I don't want to see you treating any of these books poorly. Are we clear? Here you go. Try not to spill anything on them.
2 books? This is the extent of your Elder Scrolls knowledge? Ruminations on the Elder Scrolls. Oh, gosh. By Septimus Cygnus, College Winterhold. Imagine living beneath the waves with a strong-sided blessing of most excellent fabric, holding the fabric over your gills. You would begin to breathe. Breathe drink. Its warp and weft. Though the plant matter fibers imbue your soul, the wretched plankton would pollute the cloth until it stank to heavens of prophecy. This is one manner in which the scrolls first came to pass. But are we the sea, or the breather, or the fabric? Or are we the breath itself? Can we flow through the scrolls as knowledge flows through, being the water, or are we the stuck morass of sea filth that gathers on the edge? Imagine again, this time, but different. A bird cresting the wind is lifted by a gust and downed by a stone. But the stone can come from above if the bird is upside down. This was written by Shia Gorath. Where, then, did the gust come from? In which direction? Did the gods send either? Or has the bird decreed their presence by her own mind-making? The all-sight of the scrolls makes a turning of the mind such that relative positions are absolute in their primacy. I ask you again to imagine for me. This time you are beneath the ground. A tiny acorn planted by some well-meaning elf maiden of the woodlands for her pleasure. You wish to grow, but fear what you may become. So you push off the water, the dirt, the sun, to stay in your hole. But it is in the very push you become a tree, in spite of yourself. How did that happen? The acorn is a kind of tree egg in this instance, and the knowledge is water and sun. We are the chicken inside the egg, but also the dirt. The knowledge from the scrolls is what we push against to become full-sighted ourselves. One final imagining before your mind closes from the shock of ever knowing. I know nothing. You are now a flame burning bright blue within a vast emptiness. In time, you see your brothers and sisters burning of their own in the distance and along your side. A sea of pinpoints, a constellation of memories. Each burns bright, then flickers. Then two more take its place, but not forever, lest the void fills with rancid light that sucks the thought. Each of our minds is actually the emptiness, and the learning of the scrolls are the pinpoints. Without their stabbing light, my consciousness would be as a vast nothingness, unknowing its emptiness as a void is unknowing of itself. But the burnings are dangerous, and must be carefully tended and minded, and brought to themselves and spread to their siblings. Oh, wait, I can take this, right? Read the effects of the Elder Scrolls. Okay. It's 15 pages long. It's easier just to close it to get back to the beginning. So, the effects of the Elder Scrolls. It is widely known among scholars that the Elder Scrolls entail a certain hazard in their very reading. The mechanism of this effect has, at present, been largely unknown. Theories of hidden knowledge and divine retribution were the subject of idle speculation with little investigation. I, Justinius, is that a P? Polonius, have undertaken to thoroughly document the ailments afflicted by the Elder Scrolls on their readers, though a united theory of how they manifest continues to elude me and remains a subject for future study. I have grouped the effects into four, finding that the avenue of experience depends largely upon the mind of the reader. If this is unclear, I hope that a proper dichotomy will lay it plain. Group the first. The naifs. For one who has received no training in the history of or nature of the Elder Scrolls, the scroll itself is, effectively, inert. No prophecy can be scribed nor knowledge obtained. While the scroll will not impart learning to the uninformed, nor will it afflict them in any adverse fashion. That's not a complete sentence. Visually, the scroll will appear to be awash in odd lettering and symbols. Those who know their astronomy often claim to recognize constellations in the patterns and connections, but such conjecture is impossible to further investigate since the very nature of this study necessitates unlearned subjects. Group the second, the unguarded intellects. It is this second group that realizes the greatest danger from attempting to read the scrolls. These are subjects who have an understanding of the nature of the Elder Scrolls and possess sufficient knowledge to actually read what is inscribed there. They have not, however, developed adequate discipline to stave off the mind-shattering effects of having a glimpse of infinity. These unfortunate souls are struck immediately, irrevocably, and completely blind. Such is the price for overreaching one's faculties. It bears mentioning, though, that with the blindness also comes a fragment of that hidden knowledge, whether the future, the past, or the deep natures of being is dependent on the individual and their place in the greater spheres. The knowledge does come. Group the third, mediated understanding. Alone in Tamriel, it would appear that only the cult of the ancestor moth has discovered the discipline to properly guard one's mind when reading the scrolls. Their novitiate, whatever that is, must undergo the most rigorous mental cultivation, and they often spend a decade or more at the monastery before being allowed to read their first Elder Scroll. Monks say this is for the initiate's own protection, as they must have witnessed many unguarded intellects among their more eager ranks. With appropriate fortitude, these readers also receive blindness, though at a far lesser magnitude than the unguarded. Their vision fogs slightly, but they retain shape, color, and enough acuity to continue to read mundane texts. The knowledge they gain from the scroll is also tempered somewhat. It requires stages of meditation and reflection to fully appreciate and express what one saw. Man. Okay, but that one's actually somewhat interesting once you get to the Dragonborn DLC, because it plays into that. Group the fourth, Illuminated Understanding. My lips are so dry. Between the previous group and this one exists a continuum that has, at present, only been transferred by the monks of the Ancestor Moth. With continued readings, the monks became gradually more and more blind, but received greater and more detailed knowledge. As they spend their waking hours pondering the revelations, they also receive a further degree of mental fortitude. There is for every monk a day of penultimate reading. Their P's just look like D's, man, come on. When the only knowledge the Elder Scroll imparts is that the monk's next reading shall be his last. For each monk, the penultimate reading comes at a different and unknowable time. The preliminary work has been done to predict the occurrence by charting the severity of an individual monk's blindness. But all who reach these later stages report that the increasing blindness seems to taper with increased readings. Some pose the notion that some other, unseen, sense is, in fact, continuing to diminish at this upper range. But I shall leave such postulations to philosophers. To prepare for his ultimate reading, a monk typically withdraws to seclusion in order to reflect upon a lifetime of revelations and appoint his mind for reception of his last. Upon this final reading, he is forever blinded, as sure as those unguarded ones who raced to knowledge. The illuminated one, though, has retained his understanding over a lifetime, typically possesses a more integral notion of what has been revealed to him. It is hoped that this catalog will prove useful to those who wish to further our mortal understanding of the Elder Scrolls. The Moth Priests remain aloof about these matters, taking the gradual debilitation that comes with reading as a point of pride. May this serve as a useful starting point for those hoping to take up such study. Dictated to Anstius Mechim, fourth of last seed, in the 126th year of the Second Era. Oh my gosh, that's so much. So much to read.
Hundreds of years have gone into assembling this collection. It's going to stay pristine, understand? You need a book? You talk to me. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a lot of pain.
The Ruinations book is incomprehensible.
Aye, that's the work of Septimus Cygnus. He's the world's master of the nature of Elder Scrolls. But, well, he's been gone for a long while. Too long.
Where did he go?
Somewhere up north, in the ice fields. He said he found some old Dwemer artifact, but well, that was years ago. Haven't heard from him since.
Now, to complete Elder knowledge, we must find Septimus Cygnus, which triggers this quest, Discerning the Transmundane. So this is where we stop and do another side quest before we jump back. We can now finish our final task and recover the Elder Scroll after doing all that stuff for Septimus. Completed Elder Knowledge. Started Alduin's Bane.